The little girl had fallen asleep before they even reached the hotel entrance. Her tiny arms clung tightly around an old teddy bear while her head rested on her father's shoulder. Rain dripped from the edge of his brown leather jacket as he stepped through the revolving doors of the luxurious Harbor Crest Grand Hotel in downtown Seattle. People barely looked at him. To them, he looked like another exhausted single dad trying to find an affordable room after a long drive. No one could have imagined that he owned every single brick beneath their feet. And within the next 15 minutes, several careers would end forever. Daniel Brooks wasn't the type of billionaire anyone recognized. At 42, he drove his own pickup truck, wore faded jeans whenever he wasn't attending board meetings, and hated expensive watches. He believed respect should never come from money. It should come from character. Years earlier, after losing his wife Emily to cancer, Daniel had stepped away from public business events to raise their 6-year-old daughter, Lily. His hotel company, Brooks Hospitality Group, had grown into one of America's fastest-rising luxury brands. But Daniel rarely announced who he was. Every few months he quietly visited one of his hotels without warning. Not to inspect the marble floors. Not to test the food. He wanted to see how ordinary guests were treated when nobody important was watching. Because Emily had once told him something he never forgot. The true heart of a hotel isn't the lobby. It's how people are treated when they have nothing to offer. Those words had become the company's unofficial philosophy. Unfortunately, some employees had forgotten it. It had been raining non-stop since early morning. Daniel and Lily had spent 6 hours driving back from visiting Emily's parents in Oregon. Halfway home, their truck developed a transmission problem. Instead of risking another 100 miles, Daniel decided to stay overnight at Harbor Crest Grand, one of his flagship properties. He smiled at Lily. "We'll get pancakes in the morning." She yawned sleepily. "And hot chocolate? The biggest cup they make." She giggled before drifting back to sleep. Daniel carried her inside. Behind the reception desk stood Diana Mercer. 26 years old. Perfect makeup. Perfect uniform. Perfect posture. But patience. That had disappeared long ago. The hotel had become famous, attracting celebrities, athletes, and wealthy executives every week. Over time Diana had quietly developed an unfortunate habit. She judged guests before speaking to them. Designer suit? Immediate smile. Luxury luggage? VIP treatment. Old backpack? Minimal effort. Rain-soaked clothes? Assume they couldn't afford the place. Daniel approached politely. "Good evening. I'd like one room, please." Without looking up completely, Diana sighed. "Reservation?" "No. We're almost full." "I understand." She typed slowly. Then glanced at Daniel's worn jacket. Her eyes landed on Lily sleeping peacefully against his shoulder. She frowned. "Our remaining rooms begin at $800. Daniel nodded. "That's fine." She stared for a moment. "You understand I said 800? I heard you." Instead of continuing, she closed the reservation screen. "I'm sorry. We don't have anything available." Daniel looked around. Several room keys still sat prepared behind the counter. A bellman quietly wheeled fresh luggage toward elevators. The hotel obviously wasn't full. Daniel remained calm. "Could you check once more?" Diana folded her arms. "I already did." Behind her, another employee whispered. "There are still executive suites available." Diana ignored him. At that exact moment, a sharply dressed businessman entered carrying expensive luggage. Without hesitation Diana smiled brightly. "Good evening, sir." She immediately began checking him in. Daniel watched silently. The contrast couldn't have been clearer. The businessman hadn't even spoken yet. Lily slowly opened her eyes. "Daddy. I'm awake." Daniel gently brushed wet hair away from her face. "It's okay, sweetheart. We'll figure something out." The businessman noticed the little girl. He looked uncomfortable. "You were helping them first." Diana laughed politely. "They actually don't have a reservation." Daniel simply waited. No anger. No raised voice. Just quiet disappointment. Watching nearby was Marcus Hill, the hotel's evening operations manager. He had worked there for 9 years. Marcus noticed everything. The false smile. The dismissal. The judgment. He walked toward the desk. "Is there a problem?" Before Daniel could answer, Diana interrupted. "Nothing serious. No availability." Marcus frowned. He checked the computer. His eyebrows lifted. "We have 17 available rooms." Silence. Diana's face tightened. "Those are premium inventory." Marcus looked confused. "They're available." She leaned closer and whispered, "I don't think he's our type of guest." Daniel heard every word. So did the businessman standing beside him. And so did Lily. The little girl looked at her father. "What does she mean?" Daniel smiled softly. "Nothing you need to worry about." But inside, his heart broke a little. Not because of himself. Because his daughter had just witnessed someone being judged by appearance. Marcus cleared his throat. "Sir, I'm very sorry. I can personally arrange your room." Before he could continue, another voice echoed across the marble lobby. "Marcus." It was Regional Director Victoria Lawson. She had arrived unexpectedly for tomorrow's executive meeting. She walked over. "What seems to be happening?" Marcus explained carefully. Victoria turned toward Daniel. "I'm terribly sorry for the misunderstanding." Before she finished, Diana quietly whispered, "He's probably just looking for a discount." That sentence changed everything. Daniel slowly reached into his wallet. He removed a simple black business card. No gold lettering. No fancy design. Just 3 words. Daniel Brooks. Founder and Chairman. Brooks Hospitality Group. He handed it to Victoria. At first, she smiled politely. Then she actually read it. Color disappeared from her face. Her hands began trembling. She looked from the card to Daniel. Back to the card. "Oh. My. Goodness." Marcus froze. The businessman blinked twice. Even the concierge stopped walking. Victoria immediately straightened her posture. "Mr. Brooks." Daniel quietly interrupted. "No. Tonight. I'm simply a father looking for a room." The lobby became completely silent. Diana laughed nervously. "This has to be some joke." Victoria slowly turned toward her. "It isn't." She had met Daniel several times during annual leadership conferences. There was no possibility of mistake. Daniel looked around the elegant lobby. This hotel was built for families. For travelers. For people celebrating. And sometimes, for people having the hardest day of their lives. He glanced at Lily. "If my daughter wasn't with me tonight, I'd probably sleep in my truck." He looked directly at Diana. "Not because we couldn't afford a room, but because someone decided we didn't deserve one." The words landed like stones. No shouting. No insults. Just painful truth. Guests had quietly gathered nearby. Everyone listened. Daniel continued calmly. My late wife helped write our hospitality values. They begin with one sentence. Every guest deserves dignity before luxury. He pointed gently toward the front desk. Somewhere. We forgot that. Victoria closed her eyes briefly. She already knew what came next. And Diana finally realized. The tired father she dismissed was the man whose signature appeared on every employee paycheck. For several long seconds, no one moved. The soft piano music playing through the lobby suddenly felt much louder than before. Guests glanced at one another, unsure whether to leave or stay. Even the rain outside seemed quieter. Diana's face had turned pale. I didn't know, she stammered. Daniel looked at her calmly. That's exactly the problem. He shifted Lily gently on his shoulder, careful not to wake her completely. If you had known I was the owner, you would have welcomed me with a smile. He paused. But because you believed I was just an ordinary father, you decided I wasn't worth your time. No one argued. Because everyone knew he was right. Marcus lowered his head. I'm sorry, Mr. Brooks. I should have stepped in sooner. Daniel gave him a small nod. You did step in, Marcus. You chose to do the right thing when you realized something wasn't fair. Turning to Victoria, Daniel spoke quietly. I've always said our hotels don't sell rooms. We create memories. A family celebrating an anniversary will remember how they were treated. A child on vacation will remember how someone made them smile. And a tired parent. He looked down at Lily. Will remember whether someone showed compassion after a long day. Victoria swallowed hard. We've failed your vision tonight. Daniel answered softly. No. A vision only fails when no one is willing to correct it. Just then, Lily slowly opened her eyes. She rubbed them and looked around the beautiful lobby. Daddy, are we in the hotel? Daniel smiled warmly. We are now. She looked at Diana with innocent curiosity. Is she okay? The simple question caught everyone off guard. Diana blinked rapidly, fighting back tears. I'm fine. Lily climbed down from her father's arms and walked a few small steps toward the counter. My teacher says everyone has bad days. She hugged her teddy bear tightly. Maybe she had one. The lobby fell silent again. Children often said what adults forgot. Daniel gently placed a hand on Lily's shoulder. That's a kind thing to say. Diana covered her mouth, overwhelmed by the little girl's compassion after the way she'd been treated. Victoria finally spoke. Diana Mercer. Her professional tone returned. As regional director, I'm placing you on immediate suspension pending termination. Diana's eyes widened. Please. I need this job. I've worked here for 3 years. Victoria remained firm. You weren't being dismissed because you made a mistake. You deliberately chose to treat someone differently based on appearance. You ignored available rooms. You ignored another employee's correction. And worst of all, you did it in front of a child. Tears rolled down Diana's cheeks. She knew there was no defense. Security quietly approached, not aggressively, but respectfully. Daniel raised his hand. One moment. Everyone looked toward him. I agree there must be consequences. But humiliation isn't part of our company values. He turned to Diana. You'll leave with dignity. The same dignity every guest deserves. The security officers stepped back. Even now, after everything, Daniel refused to let anger define the moment. Marcus completed the check-in himself. He selected the hotel's finest family suite. When Daniel reached for his wallet, Marcus smiled. Tonight, sir. The room is on the house. Daniel chuckled softly. I appreciate the gesture. But owners still pay when they're guests. Marcus laughed for the first time all evening. I guess that's why people enjoy working for you. Daniel handed over his credit card anyway. Our standards apply to everyone. As Marcus prepared the room keys, Lily noticed a young bell attendant standing nearby. He looked nervous. Are you scared? She asked. The young employee smiled awkwardly. A little. She walked over and handed him her teddy bear. You can hold Mr. Buttons until I come back. The entire lobby smiled. The bell attendant carefully accepted the little bear like it was something priceless. I'll keep him safe. You promise? I promise. Lily grinned. Okay. For the first time that evening, the atmosphere felt warm again. Kindness had begun repairing what pride had broken.